You ready, Robin?
Sometimes it's very peaceful, other times it can get very chaotic, but usually everyone gets to go home with a fish. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the new folks. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't as yet. Today we're going to be talking about traditional seine net pulling. And the footage I'm going to show you is from Grenada in the Caribbean. Most small Caribbean countries have a tradition of pulling a seine net, especially coming into the summer when the bait fish just as the jacks and the sprat are hanging around. So check it out here if you haven't seen it before. There are many different forms of nets, and a seine net is usually a net they set to block all the fish in the middle. You would have to deploy this net from the coastline, go around the school of fish, and get people to pull this net in. As you reach to the end, the fish would be at the very end of the net, and you can then scoop it out as you would see in this video. So, if you haven't seen this happen before, this is a good opportunity to get the first-hand experience of it. Now, as you can see here, there's a small group of people moving side to side. Later in the video, I'll show you a different net being pulled up the west coast with a larger group of people, with groups on both sides of the net. Usually it's done with groups on both sides of the net, but if you only have a small group, they would pull one side in, then move to the other side and pull that in again, as you can see here. If you're not too familiar with net fishing, a seine net is a heavy, small hole net that keeps the fish inside. There are also gill net with bigger holes where fish can get entangled. Fish usually don't get entangled in a seine net. However, some do, the really small ones, and it works with a lead line at the bottom and a float line at the top. If you look on the screen there, you can see that orange float line going all the way to a boat and going all the way around to the beach on the other side. Now, initially you would be pulling on a rope, but as it gets closer to shore, you would see there be a group of people pulling the lead line as well as a group of people pulling the float line. And they have to pull in unison. Usually they get some sort of a rhythm so that they're pulling together, that the net moves together, closing in on the fish on the inside. This entire process usually take maybe an hour or two. However, this is YouTube, so I'm going to give you a short take of it. Just going to fast forward through some of it. I also did a live. I was actually looking at this live broadcasting on my YouTube channel. You can go back and look at the live to see the first part. But this is sort of to the end. So here, it's not that long. Have a look. Hopefully you enjoy it. If you've never seen this before, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Also, if you have any questions, leave it in the comment. And if you've done this before, I would love to hear your experience where you've done this. I'd also like to know where in the world do people do this other than the Caribbean. So as it gets closer to the end, this is a very important part. You can see, although it's a small group of people, they've dispersed the both end of the net and they're pulling it in. The end of the net is really close to the shore. The laughing gulls are having a feast because all the small fish that is entangled in this net now is a free meal for the laughing gulls. There's a big school of fish in the middle. You can't see it too clear from here, but you'll see it in a while, and they're pulling in. There's also two guys in the middle standing on the net so that the bottom of the net remains on the sand. That way the fish doesn't escape under the net. So at this point on, everything in the net would most likely be caught.
Hey, I didn't see that. Hmm? Kamalo said in the next net. They take all the little fish, eh? I'm going closer. I got some.
Depending on which part of the island you are from, some people use this to capture bait fish to send out for the tuna fishermen, tuna and billfish. Other people use it to sell as jacks on the local fish market. You'd also have a few snapper, trevallies, and a lot of other fish that was perusing the area. Predators who trying to eat the bait fish themselves would be caught in the net. So it's a good place to get fresh fish straight from the ocean.
Yo, look
You
at
can see
that
here,
fish there.
they're going to get
I don't know. I go hook somebody, right? I think. Get work on them, eh? there for you. You take away the next lionfish? Sure. Boy, 3 lionfish I sure I see nine.
Now, as for ownership, the owner of the net is usually the owner of one of the boats, and they would determine how the fish get shared up. So initially, you would see some guys taking a small collection. They actually took this lionfish out of the net. I'll leave the audio in for that. And then they would take some of the fish out and put it on a boat to hold still. Afterwards, they'd come back and probably share the fish. This is a very orderly group of people. Some places you go, it gets very disorderly around this time. But you can see here a couple of mutton snappers inside of there, a couple of trevallies, loads of jacks. There's one like an ocean guy. Just have a look.
Oh, you know how fish? Yeah, them fish pass out on that side. I call in and tell them, man, look who fish running away, but nobody do hear me. Okay. When the next stick and all they go over here, fish pass out here.
You see here, they caught a porcupine fish in the net and he took all his air and he blew up really big like a ball. So it was a spiny ball. They had to take it out of the net. I'll go over it and show you it in a minute. But if you look in there, the fish are still alive. They're gonna take them out, put them in another holding area before probably going on to the market to sell it as fresh fish or sell it to the fisher folks as fresh bait. If you haven't seen a porcupine fish before, they can blow themselves up like a ball, letting out all their spines as you can see here. It can be dangerous if one of those spines go into your leg or your hands. So the fisher folks, they're not interested in this fish. It's really hard to deal with. If you're going to cook it, you have to roast it on the fire and pull each of these spines out. So people generally just release them if you catch them. Really good defense mechanism you can see here. Yep, so this was an orderly sharing, orderly pulling small group. Sometimes it's like this, it's not always like this. Depends on the group of people you're in. I'm going to show you another clip in a while with a larger group of people, and it was not as orderly, but you have to see for yourself. Check it out. The other clip would be a bit fast forward because it was really long, but you get the gist of things. It was a bit more windy here, so I had to down the audio and fast forward it a bit. This was a much larger net than shown before, and a larger group of people you can see from the get-go. There's always divers diving the net to make sure it's not stuck to a rock or something. The net was also in much better condition. So you can see everybody's pulling in a rhythm, they're pulling together. This will get the net in a lot faster. But yep, have a look. It's only fast forward a little bit, but have a look at how it goes. So these guys were catching fish predominantly to use as bait. So they actually pulled this thing called a cali, and they're gonna take most of the fish out of the net and put it in another holding net that you can see on the side there. That's gonna be floating. It's sort of a fish cage that keeps the fish alive in the water so they can use it as bait over the coming days. If you look closely, you'd also see a couple of the fishermen. Okay, this guy just threw a turtle away, but they were removing the sea turtles from the net, and normally you don't see this. So I was really happy to see there was a few turtles caught in the net. You can see a video on the top there of when I removed some turtles from actually one of these holding cages, because a lot of the fishermen, they don't release the turtles, although they should. There is an open hunting season on turtles in Grenada from the months of September to the end of March. This video was from 2024. It would have been in the closed season because it would have been May, June 2024. But you can see here, so far, when the owner of the net is taking his fish, it's very peaceful, it's very quiet. But as soon as he leaves the rest for the actual people taking the net, it gets a bit chaotic. But see for yourself.
Let me see your bag of jacks, mister. Thank you very much.
One. Watch out! Watch out! Get to what jacks, eh?
The total are waiting to see that. The total are waiting to see. But the man felt it out quick. Yeah. I just walk with them. So when I see them watching the net, I see quite out there.
Bigger, let somebody get Jack's wife. You can go down like Jack's wife.
Yeah. I see a too big one when he was out there. Yeah. So when he coming in now, I see them and show them much man. Eh? Pass below. Very nice. I see them men all in house and pass me solo.
Nah.
See them man make a big pool of this too. When I was going up, you can get attacked in this pool there. If you're not coming down, I watch you in net there waiting.
Yeah, nah, together Jack's wife. Yeah, when I come so. And like them parents, fish and things, so and that's them.
I'll put them back. Very nice. How deep this thing does do? Pretty well. Eh?
The fish is mine?
Yeah, I take that. But my think you got the bab and you.
There go the fish man.
Yeah, two whole days in the fish.
This is the end of another one. Hopefully you learned something about traditional seine net pulling today if you've never seen it before. If you haven't seen it in a while, hopefully it bring back some nostalgia. I grew up seeing this happening in most of the villages on the coastal part of the island. So it's always a blessing. If I get to see it, I sit and look at it. See different people make a living in the way they know how. Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Leave a comment, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Your support really matters.